Hello there. It's pretty surprising to recognize the number of narcissists wandering around the streets. Well, on a more serious note, I think it might be interesting to talk today about how to detect a pathological narcissist. In my practice, I have seen far too many people suffering from being entangled with and dependent on narcissistic individuals without realizing it until they go through great doses of unnecessary suffering. While it's true that we live in a society that tends to create a breeding ground for narcissists and our egos, if left unchecked, can also lead us to become somewhat narcissistic, even if we don't like to admit it. But let's specifically talk about those who have developed it to a pathological and highly damaging level for the people around them, and at the end of the day, for themselves too. So, how can we detect one of those narcissists? Well, there are people who display themselves with bravado to the world, bragging and boasting about their alleged gifts. They exhibit arrogance and a lack of empathy for others, an enormous need for admiration. Indeed, these characteristics may not be so evident at the beginning, neither at work nor in relationships, because they display their best feathers like a peacock, thus captivating almost everyone with their charisma. However, narcissists are egotistical, conceited, manipulative, and demanding, convinced that they deserve special treatment and hold an excessive high image of themselves. Be careful. Behind all this, there is usually an inner complex they try to compensate for by an artificial inflation of the ego. Regardless of their intellectual capacity and physical appearance, they often think they are more physically attractive and intelligent than almost everyone else, and they need to be admired rather than liked. They become angry when told they are not good-looking, brilliant, or successful. However, it doesn't affect them much if someone tells them they are egocentric. Narcissists can be found in various fields since, as I mentioned, our current society provides the ideal ground for these types of personalities to proliferate. They abound in the media and entertainment, such as reality shows on TV, for example, but also in leadership positions of any kind, from politics to the business world and celebrities. Any area where they can dazzle and dominate others without being required to cooperate or suffering the consequences of a bad reputation. Being a narcissistic monk would be paradoxical, but being Paris Hilton and a narcissist is almost praiseworthy nowadays. I have heard many stories of how a partner or an associate didn't detect it at first sight, nor in the initial interactions, nor even at the beginning of the relationship, as they can be attractive, engaging, charming, have a good sense of humor, and even show faint interpersonal warmth. Since control is so important to narcissists, they can suddenly lose their charm if they feel destabilized or threatened. Sometimes even when they feel they already have you in their web and they have conquered you. This two-faced behavior is often the first indication of their true character. They get angry when rejected. They overreact to minor slights or punish you when you think that, or you tell them that they don't have this grandiose image. Narcissists seem to seek out people who fit their highly positive self-image, while intentionally avoiding and even stifling those who could give them a harsh dose of reality. They tend to diminish any kind of constructive feedback because they are convinced that others envy them, so they never question their own behaviors or perceptions. Their search for admiration is like a drug. Of course, in the long run, it becomes difficult for them to sustain it because others won't constantly applaud them. That's why they always seek new acquaintances to receive the next fix. They usually maintain weak ties with people and frequently change their social context to find a new audience. Their charisma, initial enthusiasm, and charm are hard to resist in a romantic relationship. However, the satisfaction doesn't last long. The narcissist partner ends up frustrated very quickly. That's why their strong suit is short-term sexual and romantic relationships. They thrive with them, and they are more difficult to detect. What goes unnoticed is that in their quest for self-affirmation, they destroy the relationships they depend on, leaving behind an endless list of people hurt by their selfishness. Statistics show that narcissism is more prevalent among males, so I will conclude with some advice for women. So if you find yourself dating idiots over and over again and suffering because of them, pause and change your strategy. Give a chance to someone who might not catch your attention at first because they don't appear as attractive, flashy, or successful. Allow that type of man to open up and show you their qualities, their true inner wealth. I can assure you, it is totally worth it.